morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Doing great.
Happy
Heather, great
Wednesday.
background. Nice looking. Is that called a ficus
Sure.
or topiary? I'm not a plant person, so I was just guessing what they would call that.
Your guess is as good as
Yeah,
mine.
All right,
that's
we'll
right.
go with
That's right.
ficus because I like the word
Yeah,
ficus.
ficus greenery.
Yeah. So, Ray, how are you? All is well.
Doing good. Doing good. It's a little chilly here, for spring, but we're kind of persevering. We're ready for some more snow on the weekend, so it'll
Wow.
yeah
Really?
the spring breakers are going to get some fresh powder, which is always a good thing.
Well, we're having our 3 weeks of spring right now, and I'm sure we'll be 90 degrees soon.
Mm-hmm.
It'll happen quick. It'll be like the light switch just goes on, and it'll
Yep.
be hot mode
Yeah.
here
Back
in
at it.
Texas. Okay, so we're talking about something today that's not a great topic, and we hate talking about this, but it's a situation right now that's happening in corporations all across America, and it's a hot topic. In fact, we posted this last night, or Heather posted this last night in preparation for the show, and I got a couple of pings saying, "Oh yeah, this is a really hot topic. I'm glad you
Hmm.
are talking about it." So, do you want to put up the slide, Heather? So, who wants to kick this off? Well, I'll kick this off, and then we can jump into it. So,
Hmm.
this was based upon a Bloomberg article that came out this week or last week. I don't remember when it was. I read the full article. I don't know how I got access to the full article. I
I
read
don't
it,
know.
but unfortunately, Heather and Ray had to go behind the paywall, and they didn't get to actually read the whole article. So I somewhat summarized it for them. And the article talked about that middle managers are getting laid off in a higher proportion than have ever gotten laid off before in organizations. And then the other group that's getting laid off in higher levels than ever before are VPs and C suites. So companies are really taking that do more with less philosophy to heart. So that's what we were going to talk about this morning. So I summarized it there. Heather, Ray, one of you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I think that over the last 6 to 9 months, we've seen an uptick in organizations laying people off and kind of really taking a hard look at, do they have the right people? Do they have the right roles? And where's their budget compared to their revenue? So because of that, one of the things that we've noticed and a lot of people have noticed is that the folks that seem to be getting impacted at a higher level, other than HR, are folks in middle management, and what we think there's some really strong reasons for that. I think the industries are definitely looking at their organizations and taking a really hard look. And but it almost comes down to that restructuring. It's every organization wants to be as flat as possible. They are taking layers out. And we were when we were working at Cisco and other places, we always thought, why do we have one director, one manager, reporting to one director, reporting to one VP, kind of the one-on-one. And it's like you got to have a spread, and I think that's one of the big reasons why organizations may have gotten a little bit too tight with their spans of control. And if you're in a leadership position, you're expected to manage 12, 15, 20 people, not maybe as direct reports, but in some cases, yeah, as direct reports. And I think that's really driving that middle management group kind of coming out of the organization.
I remember I had 22 direct reports at one time.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
Yeah,
was crazy. And people would
yeah,
always
not
look at
not
my
common.
yeah, people would always look at my org chart and they're really like, "You have 22 direct reports." Well, that's just the way that it is. We just don't have spans and layers here. So people
Hmm.
have to manage and empower people, and we are not big on promoting management. And that's something that I did a lot of. I had a lot of situations where I was spread very thin, but made it work. One of the other things that's happening is that they're really looking at cost savings. And people who are highly paid in the executive ranks right now, more so than has ever been in the past, they're looking at that individual and saying, total, budget for that job with salary and perks and bonus and stock. I mean, if somebody that's making $1 million a year, they're saying, do we really need that expensive of a person in this job? And I know Heather's going to groan at this because she sort of groaned last night over email and I felt bad. We were talking about what are we going to talk about? And she said, does it really have to have AI involved with it? And I said, well, no, but literally AI is judging everything. She's like, oh, AI. But unfortunately, there's an AI component to this where people and management and the board and the CEO are looking at where can we thin out our staff and where can we get more efficient with the core versus context discussion. Is this core to our organization? Is this context work? Let's go ahead and outsource context work. And oh, by the way, let's use AI to be more efficient. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is even the CHRO. I think the job of the CHRO is going to be a lot different. Rather than having a huge department that you manage, you're going to be using more outsourced resources and you're going to be using AI. So how you manage is going to be a lot different than having a big department with lots of resources at your disposal. And that's really going to be the case with, I think, a lot of G&A functions, particularly because G&A always gets the rap of being the cost center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. So true. So true. And I think the other part too is, like you said, Jason. I think there are so many more tools out there from an automation perspective. So many more technology tools uh, that will help leaders manage their teams. And you don't have to necessarily have a one-on-one with every one of your direct reports to see what they're doing. I mean, you could collect information on Slack. You can collect information on Teams. Get weekly updates. Via email. So there's just a lot of different ways that managers can be more efficient and can support and manage a larger group, a larger team, and that's driving the some of these changes. And then the other thing, like you said, um, a lot of organizations are still looking at ways to be more efficient from a people perspective. And do you really have to have you know a person that's dedicated to do leaves of absence when you can outsource that, or a person, dedicated to doing, tech support when you can outsource that? I mean, so there's a lot of organizations out there that do it better than you do, and there's no reason to have those people in the organization. Have somebody else do it that's an expert, and reduce your cost.
And our company, oh, go ahead, Heather. Were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to ask, as companies are considering making these changes, eliminations, restructuring, how can we help as Thrive HR Consulting or Thrive AI Services to help these organizations do it the right way, to be more efficient? Because I know we've done that for companies before.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to have or be building monolithic TA departments anytime soon. That is just such an expensive exercise. And then it's an expensive exercise when you build it, and it's an expensive exercise when you have to take it down. So I think the use of AI in a lot of the things that are going on with TA, whether that's in phone screens, whether that's in reference checks, whether that's in doing the searches, those are all things that we are using AI for. So we're able to look at your TA process right now, and we're able to talk to you about ways that you can use AI efficiently to expand your TA needs or continue to maintain your TA needs. And then the other thing is, in terms of the digital experience, HR digital transformation, we can also come in and help you look at how are you using your tools? One of the things that I've talked to a lot of people about is that most companies are using their HR tools incorrectly. They're either not using a lot of the suites that they have purchased and they're just sitting there unused, or they have done things where they have so customized things that the tools are not really working to their most optimum efficiency. And then B, people just don't know how to use them. So we can come in and help you with that. So those are all things in both TA tools and HR tools that we can assist with in helping you become more efficient.
Yeah, the other thing that we've done also is, we've gone into HR departments and really done what we would call kind of an HR assessment and audit to figure out what exactly, you know, here's what you're doing today, here's what you should be doing, and the compliance and other things that that you should be doing, and then where's the gap, and then figuring out how to build a roadmap to close that gap quickly. And we've done that for organizations. We think that's a basic thing that organizations need to do on a you know every 12 to 18 months, because things change quickly, and tools change quickly too, and we can figure out how to help you be more efficient. And then like Jason said too, I mean, that tech stack is so important and how they all work together. I mean, we've gone into organizations that are paying for, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars for ServiceNow to support the HR department, and then the HR department is tracking things on a spreadsheet. So when it should be fully automated, ServiceNow to your HRIS system, and the folks just don't know how to use it correctly, and don't trust it, so they're doing things on spreadsheets. So
Mhm.
those are things that we can come in and help, and basically said, look, here's where you got problems. Here's a plan, to get it changed and fix it, so that you can, your folks can be much more efficient and focus on the right things, which is taking care of employees and managers.
We have an assessment that we created that basically lists or gives to you every single potential process that you need to have in an HR department. And with that assessment, we have also marked with it something that is it something that can be outsourced, or is it something that AI can take on? So if you're interested in that, we will gladly provide that to you. If you provide us your name and email, we can send that to you. And so
Yep.
we'll happy to provide you with that. But it's a really detailed assessment. Like, it took a number of hours to put it together,
Mhm.
and you can take a look at it, and it's something that you can use and do some thought around it, and then you can come back to us, and we can help talk to you about ways in which you can get more efficient in those areas, or use AI or outsource or whatever you need to do. It's a great conversation to identify what needs to happen in your organization.
Yep, exactly. Uh, and kind of going back to our list, I mean, the under market competition and financial pressures, those are big drivers for change. And I think, like Jason said earlier, you know, when you've got a middle manager, a director, or a vice president, those are some high dollar roles that that if you start to eliminate, a layer of those in the organization, your savings can be, millions and millions of dollars. And so because of that, the market's, pushing on companies to be more efficient. There's financial pressures, so you're starting to see those middle management roles starting to, to delayer, and to get eliminated in organizations. And so you've got to be, if you're in a middle manager role, you've got to be very, very cognizant of that this is happening, and prepare yourself, and find ways to add even more value, and not, be complacent.
That's sad. You're doing a good job, and you have all these cost pressures within an organization that you really can't control, and you have to be
Hmm.
worried about that. It's tough. It's a tough situation to
Mhm.
be in, and I really hate this conversation because a lot of middle managers, they do amazing work. I mean, they're
Mhm.
really driving the work every day, the nuts and bolts work every day. And I don't want to sound blasphemous, but in some ways, taking out a VP is actually the better course of action, because sometimes the VP isn't as hands-on or is and in touch with what's going on with the
Mhm.
work. And you have the VP and then you take out the middle manager. There's just this, oh my gosh, how do we get this work done? Who was managing this? Who's doing this? And there's just this churn that happens for 6 months to a year to figure everything out. So it's good that companies are looking at this holistically and tightening up and saying, is it a middle manager issue? Is it a VP issue? I hate the fact that anybody gets laid off, but the fact that we're taking a more broader view is good.
Yeah, one of the things that's not on here, is the M&A, component of it. During COVID, companies went crazy acquiring, competitors, competing complementary products, um, and as well as hiring a ton of people in many instances. And now that we're post COVID, organizations are taking a look at those acquisitions. You know, are those products really working? Do they need to be separate completely from the rest of the organization? A lot of special deals got cut. And as organizations start saying, okay, you know what, that product really needs to be kind of embedded into our core products, and those, you know, individuals that were running that product, probably, either can integrate into the organization or will be, there's no role for them. So M&A, transactions are another reason why, you know, some of these, roles are being eliminated too.
And it's happening with virtually every company that you're talking
Mhm.
about in that space. Unilever is doing a mass divestitures right now, and so Unilever is the company that purchased Ben and Jerry's ice cream. And Unilever has announced that Ben and Jerry's, amongst a number of other brands, is one of them that they're jettisoning, just because they don't feel like they're getting their money's worth on Ben and Jerry's. And so it doesn't matter whether it's technology or healthcare or whatever it is, even ice cream. This is happening regardless of the space that you're in, where companies are getting rid of poorly performing subsidiaries or portions of the business that they own.
Yep. No,
Mm.
exactly. And then the other big one at the bottom here is kind of the whole remote work flexible arrangements. You know, there are still many organizations that are providing that flexibility to employees. And when you've got a large number of your population that's either fully remote or working hybrid, to a certain degree, you don't need, a manager watching over, what they're doing day to day, and that can be done, with other tools, with other reporting mechanisms, and because of that remote work environment, you sometimes you don't need as many layers in the organization, and especially for technology folks, that are developing code, testing, doing those kind of things. I mean, you could tell what they're doing and how productive they are very quickly with some of those online tools that companies have.
Mm.
So I think that's another driver, for not needing as many middle managers.
But if you have a direct report in Hawaii, you should always go visit them. That was always my philosophy. Never had a
Right.
direct report in Hawaii, but I would have gone and visited them.
Yeah.
Make sure they're
Yeah.
doing everything right. Yeah.
Yes, make
Yeah.
sure that they're eating pineapple correctly and
Exactly.
sitting
Yeah,
by
and
the
if your
beach in a
direct report
safe
says they're living in Dallas,
positions.
but every time you do a meeting with them, there's a beach in the background. They're probably not in Dallas. They're probably in
Uh,
Mexico or some other,
sounds so nice.
sharing a house in Costa Rica. Which is
Uh,
which is exactly what happened.
I could get excited about that. I really could. But yes, so middle management and C-suite, it's happening, and it's happening quite a bit, regardless of what company that you're at. If it's Meta or Google or Unilever, they're looking at these things and making decisions. So
Yeah,
it's
and
always
for
better
eight,
to be aware.
yeah, That's right. And for CHROs, this is happening within their own organizations. And one of the things that we talk a lot about is how can you as a CHRO continue to deliver to your C-suite, to your leaders, uh, with a smaller staff and a reduced headcount. Uh, you know, that's where services like ours, our fractional support services, can come in. We're doing that for many of our clients today, where they are not able to focus on their compensation programs or their year-end merit promotion review increase cycle and bonus payout cycle. We've taken some of those processes over from end to end, even delivering compensation letters as an example. When your department can't do it, we can step in and help you in all of those different areas, and do it and basically do it seamlessly, like we're part of your organization, and that's the beauty of of what we can do.
This is true. So we're happy to help you. So how do they get a hold of you, Ray Ramirez, if they want to work with you on something?
You can call our 888 number here on the screen, or contact me at Ray, R-E-Y, at thrivehrconsulting.com. Would love to talk to you.
And Heather, if they want to know how to work with you or how to take care of their ficus, how would they do that?
You can find any of us on LinkedIn, but you also can email heather.simmons@thrivehrconsulting.com.
And I'm at Jason at thrivehrconsulting.com. And just because I like to say it, call us at 1-888-393-3453, and we can answer any questions that you may have. And we'll talk to you again next week. And we'll probably be talking to you, from Palm Springs, Mr. World Traveler, next week is Palm Springs week.
I'll be in Palm Springs next week. Yeah, we're doing spring break in the desert.
And Heather, where are you going next week?
Right here next to my plant.
Yes. So
Heather
and I are both going to the place called Nowhere. So we'll be from Nowhere, and Ray will be from Palm Springs. So excellent. Talk to you all later. All right.
Great day.
All right, see you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.